You're not going to believe this, but it turns out that good old-fashioned laziness is more deadly than obesity. That's right. The University of Cambridge did a study over the course of 12 years where they talked to 300,000 Europeans about their habits, and we've got some of the findings. The greatest risk of an early death was in those classed as inactive, and that was consistent in normal weight, overweight, and obese people. Simply walking for about 20 minutes a day can reduce the possibility of an early death by 16 to 30%. And we've got a couple more findings for you. A person runs a higher risk of an early death by being moderately thin and inactive, whereas an overweight or obese person who exercises regularly can actually be more fit than the same person who thinks that they are already fit because of their physical stature. Okay, that was a lot of words. Now we got this from riot.org, and we have someone from riot.org. So rip into this thing for me. Laziness versus obesity.
Well, I think this is problematic for me. I haven't worked out in like 9 months, and I have this false illusion of health because I can't gain weight to save my life. But no, I think that it makes a lot of sense, right? And it's the same sort of potentially mind-blowing moment that William Julius Wilson created in the 70s, where he was like, actually, the biggest defining factor in your life outcome and where you end up is your socioeconomic class and not your race. And it's like correlative versus causal and all that. And yeah, it makes sense that like more people who are fat tend to be inactive also. Right. But it's not the obesity that is killing them, it's the inactivity. Your blood, your heart's not getting any exercise, you're dying from heart failure earlier, you're whatever, getting clogged and the blood's not flowing. It makes a lot of sense. I think that that's just sort of maybe a good news to anyone who is a little bit overweight and who can't shed those pounds, but who is actually pretty active. Like you're safe. You're cool.
Yeah, I was thinking when I was reading this that actually laziness is sometimes good, because I think we live in a world where we just never stop. For me, like my inability to stop looking at my phone and doing all that, that's like my brain needs some more laziness. I know that's not directly related to this, but I think a little laziness and shutting down and letting your body kind of heal itself and all that must be pretty good, right?
I feel like there's two types of people that haven't even met each other, like on Earth, basically, and those are the people that can't stop. It's like they can't stop, won't stop, always busy, very active, trying to achieve. And then there's a lot of people that really do nothing. There's people that report that they spend hours and hours a day watching television or playing video games or doing any of these kind of like mind-numbing, like sort of kind of pleasure activities that when you do nothing. And I think it's really
hard.
The
video game people are going to be pissed at you.
Well, that's fine.
They're going to say that they're working on their hand coordination and social skills.
And I'm not calling them lazy or judging in either way, because I don't necessarily know or won't necessarily say it's better to be a go-getter all the time person or somebody who's just chilling. Exactly. So I'm not judging either side or saying it's better. I'm just saying that it's funny when you say like, isn't a little bit of laziness good? Of course, that would come from somebody who's consistently busy and just wishes they could take a break. Meanwhile, there's probably a lot of people that are doing nothing and chilling, that it would benefit them a lot to go for that 20-minute walk that it says right there. And it would make a lot of sense also that people, we're a very visually driven society. So when you see somebody who's thin, you assume that they're healthy. When you see somebody who's overweight, you assume they're unhealthy. Obviously, somebody who's really fat probably is not as healthy as they should be. But the study makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's why they get the term skinny fat, too. Yeah,
it's funny. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but what was the movie I saw, In Her Skin, with Scarlett Johansson, I think? Did you guys see it? It was this random sci-fi movie she did about 3 years ago. And in it, she's a little more overweight. And by that, I mean she's skinnier than 99% of the girls on Earth. But there's a lot of scenes, complete nudity, 100% nudity. And you can see she has some curves, looks like a real woman. And I remember watching it thinking, she actually looks healthy. And you never see that image.
I personally look healthier when I'm a few pounds overweight. When I look 5 pounds under, I look way less healthy. I look gaunt, and I am actually physically less healthy. And I think with women in particular, I know that wasn't the topic here, but women with fertility and with health usually tend to actually read healthier in tests when they have what we would consider an extra 5 to 10 pounds, much more than less 5 or 10 pounds, which is what seems to be the value.
Right. So, and when I was watching the movie, I was thinking how fucked up it is actually that I'm thinking that because maybe she looks like 2 pounds over what we would see all the time, that
And it may actually be that she just didn't have a tan, right? Like for me, I find the biggest thing, because my weight doesn't fluctuate, but if I'm tan, I look way healthier, I look way more muscular, I look just better all around.
Yeah. All right, so getting back to this thing though, how much of this do you think has to do purely with what you were hitting on, which is television? Like, I can't imagine before television, if you were lazy now, you just watch TV. On a Saturday, you could watch TV for 10 hours a day. On any day, you watch TV for 10 hours a day. But before TV, did people what did they do? That you know what I mean?
Lazy people find a way to be lazy. If you're going to sit and stare at TV, you're probably the type of person that would have sit and stared and watched the grass grow.
There also weren't morbidly obese people before there were television, not as
many.
Well,
that's what I mean. So it's two things.
So it's sort of which came first, but I think it was probably the TV.
Yeah. All right. Stop watching TV. Don't stop watching YouTube though, and let us know what you think in the comments right down below.